Today, we're jumping right into an event that really felt like it was trying to bridge wrestling's history with what's happening right now, trying to give you the signal through the noise.
That's a good way to put it. We've been looking at Saturday night's main event, number 39. It just aired May 24th, 2025.
Okay, let's get into it. Saturday night's main event. This show, it has a pretty big history they seem to be leaning into hard, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The original run back in the 80s, it was huge for wrestling. Game-changing, really. It was on NBC primetime, sometimes instead of Saturday Night Live reruns.
Wow, bumping SNL.
Yeah, and it's where you saw the big matches. You know, star versus star on free TV. You didn't get that every week otherwise. It was fundamental to how popular wrestling got then, pulling crazy ratings.
Like, how crazy?
Well, the peak, get this, March 14th, 1987, an 11.6 rating.
An 11.6 on network TV. That's
Right.
I mean, that's unbelievable for wrestling now. Really puts it in perspective.
It really does. So the show's come back a few times since, and this current version started up in 2024. It's part of the big WWE deal with NBC Universal, sort of designed to recapture that special event feel on the network.
And you could definitely feel that retro feel they were going for with this number 39 show. It was in Tampa, Florida at the Yangling Center. The intro audio made it clear it was sold out. And yeah, you could almost feel the energy.
And what's really fascinating here, looking at your sources, is that while this felt like a big special broadcast for NBC...
Yeah, one-off almost.
Exactly. It was actually planned as the first of 4 straight nights for WWE at that venue in Tampa.
4 nights. Wow.
Yeah, SNME on Saturday, then Battleground Sunday, Raw Monday, and even an NXT show scheduled for Tuesday.
Okay, but your source material highlighted a change there pretty quickly, didn't it?
Right off the bat, that NXT show, the one planned for Tuesday at the Yangling Center, it got quietly moved back to the Performance Center instead.
And the reason? Did the sources say why they pulled NXT from the bigger arena?
Low ticket sales. That's what the notes indicate.
That really puts things in perspective. When you look at the numbers the sources were reporting, your notes showed NXT was tracking only around 1,700 tickets.
Yeah, something like that. And you compare that to the announced attendance for Saturday night's main event itself.
Which was?
9,761.
Okay. And one source specifically mentioned that the crowd for SNME actually looked pretty full in there.
Right. So a massive difference in demand, just a couple nights apart in the exact same building.
It really does make you think about the power of that branding, the NBC platform, the SNME name.
That's absolutely. Compared to a regular weekly show, even from the same company, that special branding definitely seemed to cut through.
Okay, so we've got the venue context, the schedule shakeup. Let's dive into the broadcast itself. How did it start? What was the first thing people saw?
Well, the opening really leaned into the nostalgia. It started with, the usual aerial shots of Tampa, fans coming in.
Standard opening stuff.
Yeah.
So it sets the scene. People are preparing.
Mm-hmm.
Then the first superstar visual we get is Drew McIntyre.
Ah, yes. And the description's pretty striking. Walking around the empty arena, that's different.
Yeah, he is, isn't it? Not backstage chaos, but just him alone in that huge, quiet space.
Gives you a real sense of maybe focus or like just taking in the calm before the storm, soaking it all in.
Yeah, I could see that. Calm focus. Okay, so Damian Priest.
Right, and for him, it's much simpler, just backstage.
Total contrast. Backstage feels more active, maybe. The operational hub, even if we don't know exactly what he's doing.
Exactly. Less specific, more about the location itself.
And then it gets a bit more detailed again, a bit more narrative, maybe. We get Chelsea Green.
Yeah. She's backstage, too, but with Alba Fire and Piper Niven.
Yeah.
And there's this specific action noted.
The flags. Says they're handing out American flags to staff backstage.
Which is timely because it's Memorial Day weekend. That's such a specific thing to include.
It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, what does that specific action tell you? It feels like more than just getting ready.
It does, yeah. It suggests maybe community, a connection with the crew, acknowledging the weekend.
Yeah.
It's a human touch, right? Beyond just performance prep.
Okay, moving through the sequence. Zelina Vega is next.
And her arrival detail. Exiting an elevator. Simple, but specific.
Just another little glimpse of movement inside the venue. Different from being backstage already or walking in the arena. Adds another layer.
Yeah, another point of entry into the main action zone, I suppose.
Yes. Well, then we get R-Truth.
Oh, yeah.
And the image the source gives, it's just perfectly R-Truth. Wheeling his luggage bag in and dancing.
Yeah, that visual just screams R-Truth, doesn't it? Instantly tells you something about his energy, his whole vibe on arrival. It's memorable.
Totally memorable. Classic R-Truth moment captured right there. Okay, after the dancing, Logan Paul.
Right, and his description is quite different, seemingly discussing strategy with two of his buddies.
Yeah, switches gears completely from dancing joy to, like, focused planning, maybe analytical. It's just a whole different kind of pre-show mindset. Collaboration.
Definitely a change of pace, more businesslike, perhaps.
Could be. And then finally, the last one mentioned in this sequence is Jey Uso.
And his arrival point, walking from the parking lot.
Which feels different again, right? Not inside the building yet, like the elevator or backstage, but coming in directly from outside, maybe a more direct transition from the real world.
He was stepping from the outside straight into the arena bubble. Pretty standard, but then the opening video sequence, that was the real callback.
The old TV, someone changing channels, static.
Yeah.
That bit.
Exactly that. And then you hear that classic voiceover, Saturday Night Live will not be seen tonight. Then, bam, the classic SNME theme music kicks in. Classic highlights, sound bites.
Who did the sources note seeing in those clips?
Let's see. They specifically mentioned Jesse Ventura, Roddy Piper, Bobby Heenan, Macho Man Randy Savage, and The Undertaker.
Okay, but this is where the source material got really interesting, right? Highlighting some pretty significant absences from that classic footage.
Oh, yeah. Conspicuously missing, according to your notes, Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan. And the sources we looked at pointed to specific reasons. For Vince, it's the ongoing legal situation involving the Janelle Grant lawsuit.
And the sources didn't really hold back on Hogan's exclusion, did they?
No, they described it as very odd and even very petty.
Which, I mean, given Hogan's role in the original SNME, that makes sense. He was the show back then.
He was the star, the feature attraction, as they put it. The show was basically built around him at its height.
So to just completely edit him out of the highlights from the show he made famous?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, odd and petty sounds about right based on that.
And for Hogan, the reporting suggests it's likely due to recent negative fan reactions tied to his political affiliations, past racist comments that surfaced, and also some reported instances of him, well, lying over the years.
Right. And we need to be crystal clear here. As we go through this, we're just relaying what the sources reported. We're not taking a stance, not endorsing any views on these issues or the reasons given, just presenting the information as it was documented.
Exactly. It's part of the reported context surrounding the event based on the material available.
Okay.
But here's the contradiction the sources jumped on, right? Hogan's beer deal.
Exactly. That's what they found so weird. He's cut from the historical footage, but WWE has this ongoing partnership for his Real American Beer, and apparently commercials with him air pretty frequently on their shows. So you see the ads, but he's erased from the history of the show that made him famous on that specific show's revival. Okay, I get the very weird and very petty comments now.
It definitely feels like curating history based on what's convenient right now.
Okay, so after that classic montage, the video shifted.
Yeah, the screen did a sort of pause and fast forward effect. The music changed to Obsession by Animotion.
Oh, okay.
And then it switched to showing the modern talent, the people competing that night.
But they kept some of the retro feel even then.
They did. They mixed in classic sound bites, Gorilla Monsoon, Mean Gene, Ventura again. And your sources noted the editing style itself felt very similar to the original SNME run.
All right, let's move inside the arena itself. The presentation there also kept that retro vibe going, based on your notes.
Oh, absolutely. They really committed visually. You had the throwback WWE logo displayed prominently everywhere.
The classic red, white, and blue ropes.
Yep. No LED ring posts, which was a big visual difference.
Blue carpeting down the aisleway.
Right, like the old days. And they had a version of the classic neon entrance, but projected onto the LED screens behind the stage. Kind of a modern take on that old look.
That neon look from, like, WrestleMania 8 or early Raw, but updated.
Even the refs, plain blue shirts, bow ties, like the old days.
Yeah, it felt like more than just set dressing. Commentator Joe Tessitore kind of summed it up, didn't he?
He did. He said it was where the retro feel of 80s nostalgia glory days meets modern-day momentum of a new generation. Nice line.
And before the main broadcast even started, sources mentioned Lillian Garcia was there. Welcome the crowd, sang the national anthem, standard good stuff. And there was a dark match, too.
Yeah, a match just for the live crowd. American-made, that's Brutus and Julius Creed. They beat the Latino World Order, Cruz del Toro, and Joaquin Wilde.
Any timing on that one?
Reporting says it went 7 minutes, 37 seconds. You know, good way to get the crowd warmed up.
Okay. Let's turn to the broadcast team, then. The hosts were set up differently, weren't they? At a podium.
Yeah. Michael Cole and Pat McAfee were doing their thing ringside. But Unique to this show, Joe Tessitore had a different setup. He was at a podium, like in the crowd. And he wasn't alone.
Oh, Jesse the Body Ventura was back.
He was indeed. He'd done commentary for SNME number 37 and 38 too, so this was his third appearance for this current run. And the reporting noted he was wearing that Malcolm X baseball cap he used to wear back in his WCW days.
Oh yeah, the X cap.
Right. And one source speculated or suggested this might have been tied to the 5-year anniversary of George Floyd's death, which happened in Minneapolis, Jesse's birthplace. That event obviously sparked huge conversations about race and social issues.
So the source was suggesting a possible connection.
Yeah, presented as something to consider, a potential context offered by the source, not stated as a definite fact from Jesse or anything, but an interesting observation.
Definitely adds a layer if that was the intent. Shows how guys on the broadcast can sometimes go on their own perspectives, and he brought his usual Jesseisms too.
Oh yeah, classic Ventura. Joe Tessitore mentioned chatting with Jesse about the McIntyre-Priest cage match over coffee that morning, and Jesse just jumps in, corrected him live on air, said, "I don't drink coffee."
Oh, perfect. You know, Jesse saying he doesn't drink coffee makes him the biggest heel on the show as far as I'm concerned.
Biggest heel on the show.
Ah, classic Jesse.
Vintage Ventura, like you said.
Love it. So from that podium setup, Tessitore threw it down to the ringside team.
Yep, down to Michael Cole and Pat McAfee.
And McAfee had a personal connection to the Yangling Center, didn't he? Something specific.
He did. He pointed out that it was the location of the Thunderdome during the pandemic.
Ah, right.
And it's actually where he had his WWE debut match. He got quite emotional, calling it a place where his dreams came true.
That's cool.
Though that immediately brought back memories of the issues they had with the Thunderdome screens back then.
Oh, boy. Yeah, wasn't there like a Chris Benoit photo that popped up?
That was mentioned, yeah. And other stuff described only as worse than that, so maybe not the best idea to revisit everything about it. Some interesting history tied to that building, for sure.
Definitely. Okay, so before the matches kicked off, Tessitore ran down the main card.
He did, gave previews for the big ones. CM Punk and Sami Zayn versus Seth Rollins and Bron Breakker with Paul Heyman there too.
The women's U.S. title match. Zelina Vega defending against Chelsea Green, who had Alba Fire and Piper Niven with her.
Right. Then the undisputed champ, John Cena, in a non-title bout against R-Truth.
The big steel cage match.
Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest in a steel cage. And the main event, World Heavyweight Champion Jey Uso defending against Logan Paul.
Now, besides the matches, the sources pointed out some interesting things happening around the ring, people spotted in the crowd.
Right. These live events always have those little side stories, things you don't plan for.
Exactly.
Apparently, Republican Florida Governor Ron DeSantis was there with his kids.
Okay. And how did the crowd react, according to your sources?
Not warmly. Sources reported loud boos and a pretty clear "You suck" chant directed his way.
Wow, okay.
There was apparently even a brief video of it posted on X.
And this connects back to Hogan, interestingly enough.
Yeah, WrestleZone.com reported that Hulk Hogan had posted on Facebook saying he was also in Tampa that weekend.
The same weekend as SNME.
Right. And he posted a photo spending time with Governor DeSantis and his family.
So the guy deliberately left out of the show's history montage is in town, hanging out with a politician who got booed heavily by the live crowd at the show. Anyone else spot it?
Yes. Another sighting, much less controversial, was JoJo Offerman, the late Bray Wyatt's widow. She was there with their kids, Nash and Hyrie Rotunda.
That's nice to hear they were there.
Yeah. It just adds another really fascinating, kind of complex layer to the whole thing, doesn't it? Who's included, who's excluded, who's actually there, and how the live audience responds versus the curated show.
Definitely adds layers.